Hi, my name is Oliver Kinnane. I am Programme Director of the MSc in Architecture, Urbanism and Climate Action at University College Dublin, School of Architecture, Planning and Environmental Policy. So I teach students how to design efficiently, both in terms of the materials used for construction and so that the buildings can operate through their lifetime with low negative impact on our environment. And I run a number of research projects also in those areas. I research innovations in construction materials and technologies that can lower the impact of both building buildings and then operating buildings. And this is the contribution my subject can make to the transition to sustainability. Because today we live in a highly urbanized planet. We have over 230 billion meters squared of floor area, and we're set to double that by 2060. In doing so, we will consume over 100 trillion kilograms of CO2. Added to that, the buildings that we have in existence today consume over 3 trillion kilograms of CO2 each year. But the climate modelers tell us that there is a carbon budget of less than 500 trillion kilograms of CO2 for only a 50% chance of avoiding a 1.5 degree increase. So the buildings we will build in the next 40 years alone will consume over 20% of that remaining budget. To operate the buildings we have in the same time period could push us beyond the remaining carbon budget. And then nearly all of this is as a result of how the world has changed since the first Earth Day in 1970. The number of buildings we have has grown hugely in that time period. And the energy related to the buildings has increased significantly. I mean, to start on a positive note, there has been a reduction in the amount of energy per meter squared of floor area, and we have managed to dematerialize quite successfully. So things, including building products, contain less natural resources than they did in 1970. And the energy related to the processing of those materials has decreased. Steel and concrete, for example, can now be produced with about 60% of the energy used in 1970. And on top of that, we've improved the carbon intensity of our electricity, and that reduces the impact of producing construction materials for building and the operation of buildings itself. But these improvements are swamped by other factors. Primarily, the population is more than double today what it was on the first Earth Day in 1970. And all of those people have required buildings, housing, offices, gyms, and increasingly clubs, cinemas, leisure spaces. Of course, this varies hugely depending on which country you're born into, but the floor area that we build today has increased significantly. When we talk about housing, floor area has increased something like 33% in Europe since then. In America, the single family house has gone from 150 meters squared to 250 meters squared today. And in China, the floor area per capita has increased almost tenfold in that time period. All of this has created a huge embodied carbon problem. And as people desire better standards of comfort, like they do in Europe and in the US since the 70s, air conditioning is increasing dramatically. We have much work to do to reduce energy related to buildings, and we're headed, unfortunately, in the opposite direction. So a sustainable future certainly needs to include a much more sustainable built environment. Buildings need to operate with low energy requirement and be built with materials of low impact. We need research and innovation, and we need it fast. At UCD, we are trying to tackle both these matters through research projects. The NZEB 101 project, funded by the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, is monitoring and interrogating the in-use performance of 101 near-zero energy buildings distributed around the island of Ireland. Their fabrics and their technologies, so hopefully we can inform best practice at policy and regulation in the future. In a recent Horizon 2020 project we ran, we developed new high-strength concrete mixed designs with low embodied energy. These are concretes with 3 to 4 times the strength of the standard concrete, and hence in theory should allow for future structures to be built with 1/3 of the concrete requirement and even lower embodied energy. But in truth, I think we need to build less in the future. We just can't afford the carbon cost of developing urban environments like we have done in the last 50 years. We need to save the buildings we have and not demolish them. Today, architecture is creating short-lived commodities that are stuck in a churn of creative destruction, and the service life of buildings is now reduced to 20 or 30 years before they're demolished and rebuilt. The resulting environmental footprint is falling heavy and getting heavier. A sustainable future needs an urbanism that is sparing of energy and natural resources. Thank you for watching. This video is part of a series of expert reflections curated by Future Earth Ireland as part of Future Earth Week. To watch other videos or to find out more about Future Earth Ireland, check out the Future Earth Ireland Twitter handle @FutureEarth_IRE. Many thanks.